I'm with Sainty Nelson and Courtney Baxter of Chasing Yesterday, and we're at the Newport Beach Film Festival. And you actually won an Emmy yesterday. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. We're, my husband and I, who's the star of this movie, produced a web series called The Bay for New Drama Approaches. So we get to take home 2 Golden Angels, which is crazy.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So do you ladies want to tell me a little bit about the film and your roles?
Sure. Well, Chasing Yesterday is a coming-of-age story. We have this washed-up track star who was a high school and collegiate track star, was really amazing and was really going places with his life until he suffers from this tragedy, loses his girlfriend. And as a result of that, he becomes addicted to prescription medicine. And the film starts about 2 years into this downward spiral. So we have Junior, this character played by Eric Nelson, Sainty's husband, and through a kind of interesting series of events, he meets my character, Jenny, who convinces him to get his life back on track, return to running, and to help her out with some other things throughout the process.
And I played Tiffany, kind of, since it is kind of the homegrown small town, I play the mean girl.
How was that?
It kind of goes, I loved it. Actually, it was very hard for me at first because I kept like giggling the entire time because I would totally not say this, but I kind of channeled my inner, Rachel McAdams and Mean Girl and tried to do it. So then she pretends at the end that she was BFF with him all along. I think that's kind of made this movie special. It's kind of sprinkled a little bit of family because we all kind of started this. The amazing part of this film, everybody, all the producers are under the age of 30.
Yeah, I definitely get the family vibe, which I love that. I think that's so important, and I mean, I think it really shines through in the film as well.
It is really, that's kind of the thing that everybody's saying is, it kind of reminds them of that Sandlot, the one, it kind of makes you feel like home again.
Yeah,
And I always laugh that we always talk about this homegrown film, and there are drugs in the film, but everybody forgets because it really is a story about everybody growing up and evolving through that kind of
which I think makes it more real.
Absolutely. Definitely nowadays.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I mean, you see a lot of films that do deal with addiction predominantly through, through alcohol, I would say, and through other, traditional forms of drugs, I would say. For me right now, the drug addiction that I think is most relevant is this prescription drugs, because even in high school, these aren't drugs you have to go to the street to go get. You don't have to find a drug dealer. These are drugs that are sitting in the cabinet from your dad's back surgery, or they're sitting, unguarded, and that they're very accessible. It's really important, I think, that we touched on this specific type of addiction because it hasn't really been addressed as much. And right now, this is what is the most relatable for kids our age. 1, it can happen to anybody, and 2, that you can recover. It's not something that has to take over your life forever, He fell into this downward spiral, and he did feel that he couldn't, move out of it. And there's a scene in there where he says, I just want my life to go back to the way that it was. And even though he grows and he does have a different life at the end of it, I think the point is to show that you can overcome it and you can get past it. And I think that what is really, important for people to see.
And hitting home.
Yeah.
So another question that I want to end this with is, I specialize in positive psychology, which is a focus on being our best selves. And since you are in the film industry and it's difficult, how do you overcome challenges?
I always take it back to your home base, is kind of remember where you came from, and at the end of the day, this kind of industry, it matters, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's all your friends that you work with. And going back to the film, I think that's what made this film so special, is because we started with a home base as family.
Yeah.
And the film was just added on top of it, which kind of, I think that's what you always have to remember in this industry, is that it all starts at home. Everything else is extra sprinkles.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, 1, it's not always easy to deal with, and I won't say that I always deal with it with grace or anything like that. There are a lot of crying phone calls to my mom, I'll say. She definitely gets the brunt of it anytime that something is, feeling a little bit hard. I've been working in the industry for about 10 years, and, it's really tough. There's a lot of, you deal with the rejection and stuff, and that sort of thing. I never even think about that. That's, water under the bridge. It's not personal. So it's all about kind of keeping the perspective, but at the same time, you know, it's relevant in every industry, but especially this one, is to not compare yourself to others. You have to remember that your path is your path, and just because somebody else who you might have been on a similar track with before and they might have gone in this direction doesn't mean you have to go there too, you know, and it doesn't mean you're going to. So for me, a lot of time is just having to take that step back, get some perspective, and remember that my path and things are going to happen for me when they should, and not any minute earlier and not any minute later. And I have to just accept that. And it's a lot easier said than done. And I definitely still struggle with it, but I think that at least, you know, having the idea in my head to return to over and over again, eventually I'll be able to implement it with.
It's like training, you know, you got to constantly remind yourself, and it gets easier the more you do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. And I love the film, and I wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Check us out, Newport Beach Festival.